Alright everybody, welcome to the 12th episode of SmashCenter. It's your host, co-host, Suar from PGstats, and great to have you all again. It's the 12th episode, meaning the 12th time we've sat down and done this for you all. And I gotta say, it gets better each time. I'm gonna say that right now. But we have a lot of things in store for you. It's been a jam-packed weekend, actually a weekend of winners, as you'll see in a little bit. Pretty much all of the big stars that competed this weekend got their first W at a PGR event. We're going to go over what those are in a moment, but first, if you're watching us live on Twitch, welcome. This is a pleasure to have you. If this is your first time watching it on YouTube, make sure and hit that like and subscribe button so you get the latest updates from Panda Global on YouTube so that you can keep up to date on SmashCenter, Smash News, and everything else. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop right into what happened this past weekend actually in Hawaii at KawaiiCon 2019. So KawaiiCon 2019 was an event that happened also last year, and it featured many talents heading out to the islands on the west coast of the United States, very far. So of course it gets that international bonus from the PGR that we featured this time. It's a little bit hard to get from the mainland, so we figured that, you know, with that stipulation in mind, that it deserves that bonus. But talking about the actual tournament itself, 208 entrants at Honolulu, Hawaii. suar wins his first ranked tournament over CLG Void. Again, Pichu player, previously Sheik 4 from Smash 4. Or sorry, Sheik Main from Smash 4. And he reset the bracket and won 3-1, which is incredible for suar because, of course, coming from loser's bracket after getting defeated is a pretty big task. So congrats to him. Larry Lur, who's been struggling recently and hiding a little bit more in the lab by testing out different characters and still trying his today, as we see his very effective Fox, had a strong showing and finished 3rd, so congrats to Larry Lur. Captain L gets 4th, going mostly Pikachu. Again, Pikachu in Smash 4, Jigglypuff as well. This time he really stuck to Pikachu and earned that result, so congrats to Captain L. Magister, the talk of the tournament, gets some pretty big wins with Incineroar. Magister being previously, correct me if I'm wrong, a Artist Alley juggernaut. So of course Magister, with that experience that he's gotten from his own booth, took it and finished at 5th, tying with SoCal Fox player Eon. Scissor, SoCal Link, and XX both get 7th place. Pretty much everybody who showed up to the event headlining for SoCal got the results for SoCal. So congrats to everybody from that region. Hawaii, we'll probably see them again pretty soon. But we have another tournament we got to hit up in Tri-State, and that's going to be Suplex City 2019. This event being first of its kind, actually. Suplex City being an event thrown in New Jersey. 220 entrants. NRG Nairo also won this tournament, and since he won his first PGR tournament along with suar, congrats to both of them because this is the first time in Ultimate history where they both won a tournament this season. Not coming in 2nd, not coming in 3rd, although they have had plenty of strong showings. These are their first wins, so congrats to them. Nairo also took the tournament over Shoyo James 3-0 after resetting from losers. Wishes, a now very notorious and very sought after Pokemon trainer, finished at 3rd, falling to Nairo 3-1 in losers finals. Very consistent so far for his Pokemon trainer, and players and sponsors should definitely keep an eye on him since he will definitely end up very strong towards the end of the season. Dark Wizzy from MVG has a great performance, finishing 4th. Myro is not a low tier, and in their main, back from Smash 4. Rogue's own Light places 5th, which is very low for the star player from New England. Fox main, of course, carrying over from Smash 4. But, you know, for East Coast tournaments, this is something that Light's definitely going to bounce back from. Dabuz and Mars, both from Liquid and PG respectively, tie for 7th. Another kind of low result for each player. Surprising considering the fact that they've been performing rather hot lately. So for those two players, this is definitely a low. For other players, this would be seen as a high. But again, they have very tough standards for themselves, and they're definitely going to keep to them. So congrats to both of those players. Suplex City 2019, taken by Naru. You know, definitely got that W for Tri-State, and Tri-State's looking extremely strong. Word has it that most of that top 8 was actually part of the Tri-State PR, so it kind of doesn't surprise me considering the fact how strongly they performed. But we have another tournament we've got to get to now in Australia, carrying over with Expand Gong 4, 214 entrants. Cosmos and the Cat. Other players were featured in this tournament, as well as Mr. R. Cosmos wins his first tournament as well. And, you know, beating the Cat 3-0 in Grand Finals is a big deal for sure. This tournament reached C tier rather late, so of course for Cosmos this will be something that'll count towards his ranking at the end of the season, as well as the Cat, Mr. R, and everybody involved. Beast Coast Mr. R places 3rd, and he actually placed 4th in a game that many people did not know that he still plays, which is Project M. So that's very impressive for Mr. R. Congrats to him. And Keitaro, actually, hilariously enough, considering the fact that this is, again, an Australian tournament, not many Australian talent is always seen, but Keitaro definitely had a strong showing with 5th as Falco Snake, showing not only that he is a great caster, but also an outstanding player. He fell to his roommate and best friend, the Cat, so sometimes it happens like that. Team kills happen all the time, so that'll do it for Expand Gong 4. Expand Gong 4, being an Australian event, is something that, you know, we're going to see a little bit more often, since potentially if they get a player ranked, who knows, we might get more representation. So big ups to Australia. But lastly, tournament we all want to promote, and a tournament we want to turn all attention towards, that's going to be 2GG's own Prime Saga. Prime Saga is upcoming this very weekend. This event is going to feature the best of the best, and it's actually 2GG's first event that they're going to put on of this caliber, showing just what we can have going on at a Saga. Sagas prior have always been incredibly intense. The competition, high octane, and the talent from the casters, the venue, has always been something that the community has looked forward to. So with Prime Saga now on the map this weekend as an A tier, it's going to be something that many people are definitely going to hotly contest. So yeah, that pretty much does it for this past weekend. We're going to go ahead and open up the show now after we go ahead and pause all these introductions. But again, if this is your first time viewing this on YouTube, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so you get the latest alerts for our channel. This, of course, is a project that we're trying to grow, you know, gradually. So if at any point you find that this is something you can share to a friend or somebody else, go ahead and do that, because we deeply appreciate it. But now we're going to go and turn over to the main part of the show. We're going to bring in the co-host, Coney. Coney, now you're live. Coney, how you doing? Coney, how's it been?
How's it going? I had a little bit of a crisis. I don't know if you saw my messages. Basically, like, I couldn't get in here, so now I'm on U.S. Central Region. I don't know what happened, but I'm here. I'm good. Hi, how's it going?
Great, great. For those who don't know, Coney is actually not next to me physically. Coney is being transmitted by the good people at Discord. Discord, thank you for being who you are. You make this slightly bearable, considering the fact that voice over IP is tough.
Yeah, it's not easy.
So yeah, how's the past weekend been? We had our weekend of winners, and we also got Prime Saga coming up, which I did not know, believe it or not. It's been such a crazy month already, and we're only 8 days in. Taxes were done yesterday by me. You probably did them in, I'm gonna guess, February?
I got them done pretty quick, because my wife's uncle is a CPA, which is a godsend as like a streamer, commentator, you know, freelancer kind of deal. Like, thank God.
I did taxes for 3 different states because of that.
Damn. Okay.
Michigan, Cali, well, in Connecticut was because I had lived there prior, but for what it's worth, yeah, that life is not an easy one.
No, I got very lucky because he handles all that stuff. We just send him all our info, and then whatever we want to deduct, and then that's it. So that's out of the way. In terms of Smash, I was pretty light on Smash this weekend. I caught a little bit of Suplex City.
Cool event, actually. Really cool.
Yeah. Not a huge event, and then I watched WrestleMania yesterday, so that was the big thing.
I don't get wrestling, I'll be honest.
I think here's the thing. I like the idea and like everything around wrestling, like backstage stuff, is way more interesting than the actual thing they're doing in the ring. Because it's like, it's fake, but it's not, because it's really just about how...
And everyone knows it's fake, right? Like, that's...
Yeah, and that's fascinating to me, because they're fake fighting. Everybody knows it's fake fighting, but the more popular you are, the higher you go, and you're popular by being charismatic or funny or interesting or whatever, but like obviously being a good athlete helps you too, but there's like all these different elements to it. I don't know. Pro wrestling is fascinating to me as a showcase.
Why does it sound like esports?
Yes, a little bit. I mean, you can make a lot of parallels. It's super fun though.
Yes.
The actual wrestling itself is kind of boring, but all the stuff around it's neat.
Does anyone ever die?
Very rarely. It's happened though.
Well,
very, very, very rarely.
I mean, that'd get my attention, but regardless, wrestling, if you enjoy it, that's great. I'm not gonna yuck any yums here, but yeah, for what it's worth, it was a jam-packed weekend for everything, not wrestling and wrestling. So yeah, I mean, we got a couple topics here that we're gonna bring up. I do want to say that it's been a fun time so far, but Prime Saga, even before anything else. I mean, we just left up on that trailer. How are we feeling about Prime Saga?
I forgot it was coming. I don't know. I'm a little.
Same.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little. I don't get the same sense of prestige out of Prime Saga as I had with the past two GG events, and part of that is just because like
two reasons why.
Well, a bunch of different reasons why, but it just doesn't. Is not as big a deal, and I wonder if they announced. I don't even want to say they announced too early because like Genesis isn't that long ago. It feels like a lifetime ago.
3 months.
It's only
2 months. Like 2 months because it was February, not even January.
Yep. Yeah, but it feels way longer, right? I don't know about you. I
feels
feel
like half a year.
Yeah. So part of me wonders on that. But I haven't seen much about it. The only event I know that's on the horizon in the near future is Pound. So I was a little surprised.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I don't know. I think that there's a lot riding on this event because it is the first saga from 2GG. We want to see it do well, but I will say that if you tune in on the weeknights, on the weekly basis, on the weeknights, locals, the East Coast tournaments are racking up viewerships, notably, the Xanadu's, but also the other local in MDBA, the Grind. But there's even stuff going on in New England, notably Balance Patch. There's also VSGC in South Florida, along with Juicies and CFL. I mean, there's some actual like content being streamed, like matches, not just like, the camera's rolling, they're recording who's ever walking up and playing, but actual commentated sets. And the 2GG stream has not been performing to the standards we used to see, or maybe not even standards, but I think like because you don't get the trickle over, and probably the first MSM after the Prime Saga will probably be very packed. But yeah, we haven't really gotten too much of the same on the weekly level. Also, I think maybe because the attention is really on like the lights and the Marses, that's kind of keeping things away from Cali. But it is what it is.
West Coast just doesn't have as much of a foothold, I think, early on right now. Not to say that they won't down the line, but we're going to talk about power rankings in a second. And I was looking at the top 20 in SoCal, and like some names you'll recognize, obviously, but if you look at the 20, it's a little surprising, I guess. Let's say so. Yeah. So Tri-State is taking over. That's really the bottom line.
I know it's been a doozy for the other regions. Midwest and Tri-State stronger than SoCal, arguably, right now.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, the weekend winners, everyone gets one. We had Cosmos taking over Expand Gong for that name. God.
It's like somewhere in like Wollongong or Ballagong. I don't know, someplace in Australia.
I know it's a pun, but I can't.
I still hate it. Don't get me wrong. I still hate it.
Props to Australia, though, because they kind of do their own thing, and they've been doing their own thing for the longest time. Chronogon and Hammer kind of leading the charge on that, not even avant-gardeness, but just like Australia doesn't care. Australia's going to do what Australia wants to do, which I admire.
It's so hard to get players out there, too. Like, I bless them for like making the effort, because that's... For me, I don't know how it is. I guess it's less for West Coast, but that's a 30-hour plane ride.
That's not casual.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's not Greyhound. That's not Greyhound to Frostbite 2018. Is that what you did? 2018?
2018, yeah. And even that was like 17. But it was on a bus, which is like 10 times worse than a plane. But
awful.
Yeah.
So yeah, out of the three, Pride. Pride for sure. I'm proud of what I saw from Nairo, I think that that's more symbolic than anything. Reason being that, like, I think quickly, early on, with Nairo not showing up in top 8s, people have started to sort of, like, his stock has lessened.
Sure.
So I'm kind of hoping people see him still as a strong competitor because he's always in and around the top 8. But I think this W is a good one because it was stacked. Like, DeBuzz got 7th, which I still can't believe.
Yeah.
DeBuzz getting 7th is just insane. Only because he is very strong in this game. He's not a Smash 4 player that ungracefully, transitioned into Ultimate. He's been strong. So
he's also not the guy to fall early. Like we always talk about him being, so consistent. That's always kind of his thing. He's not the guy to fall there. So I think that's why it's so surprising. But I mean, everybody has an off day. What can you do?
Yeah, it's true. And these are the up and downs. They've had like super tremendous ups. I think that with everything considered, like, gosh, this is okay for DeBuzz, especially a C tier. But apart from that, yeah, who are we most proud of? Mine's Nairo, personally.
Yeah, I mean, Nairo, definitely big ups to him. You've got people who have really good wins and like Jackal. One of those. I don't know. Nakat, Jackal. I figured that's what was going on. Anyway, good stuff to him. He had a really good win this weekend. Pretty much everybody that's been breaking out, it feels like everybody's getting some good wins across the board. Magister got a big win on Larry over on the other side. Yeah, so stuff's happening. And it's really good to see that it's not just all the same names. I mean, we talk about Nairo sort of falling off the top of the heap, and now he's kind of climbing back up. But it's good to see that he's being challenged for it, and then people are ready to knock him right back down. That's good.
Yeah, Nairo at first, Shoyo James at second, Wishes at third. Wishes, actually. Yeah. That is not something I'd expect a year ago today, obviously. Right now, Wishes is the name to know in terms of Pokemon trainers, as well as Pandarian, and of course Leffen. But Leffen famously drops Pokemon Trainer seemingly after each event that he decides to play him and show him off, even though it's extremely hype, extremely great, but obviously the toll it takes, he's talked about that. So
sure,
he might pull him out again, but for the time being, Wishes and Pandarian do not let up, which is a big deal. And then Light getting 5th, Mars getting 7th, the Buzz getting 7th. I mean, thankfully / unthankfully to C tier, but it was a very stacked C tier, and those sets will definitely come out when it matters most, when everything gets tallied up. But yeah, I mean, Nairo taking that, I think, is the most impressive on its own win of the weekend. Like we said, Cosmos earlier took it over the likes of Kitaro, who got 5th, which, I don't know. I'm not gonna diss Kitaro. He's good, but the level, the caliber of the tournament was different from Australia to Tri-State. We're just being honest here.
Well, yeah, Suplex City was very top heavy.
Yeah, very.
So for it to hear that it was only a C tier is kind of surprising to people, but I don't know. It's a new formula, new game.
Yeah, I mean, it's just by number of people right now to make any event a C tier in the United States is 200. You get the 200 people in a room, you crack open a cold one, and you got a C tier. You need some setups though, so please have setups. 400 important. Turns into B tier. And then, of course, you're going to have 600 for A and 1200 or higher for S. This right here is the TTS for this season so far. Littered with C's, pretty much the whole thing is just an entire C page. And then S, of course, punctuating with Genesis and Frostbite. But the international bonus, which we were able to add, which I mentioned earlier, Hawaii got, because, I mean, come on. Like, Hawaii.
That counts. Yeah.
Hawaii, like we said, continental US, so Canada... or continental North America, Canada, or no, continental US, yeah, because Canada gets the bonus because of Gommel and because of Smash Factor, because it's hard to get over there. Yeah. Smashers and Passports, not a pair you see often, so it's tough. And then they're always coming here, so we got to spread the equity. So 160, 324, 80, 960 for the international standards, slightly lower. A little easier, more realizable for a lot of places, but yeah, this past weekend it was ridiculous because it's 200 anybody's, not 200 Nairos, not we're not doing that yet because we don't know the weights. Like Wishes back then would have counted as just an entrant, a general entrant, but potentially Wishes is going to count soon as like a 31 through 50er, even higher. Who knows? But yeah, I think for the weekend, any other shout outs you want to give? I think everybody had a great time because they visited Hawaii and Australia. So if you win or lose, I mean, you're still in paradise, right?
Yeah, those two places are gorgeous. Hawaii, one of those places I've gone to, and one of those places I'm hopefully going to very soon. So
I've never been to either.
It's just, if you can't go to Hawaii, seriously, it's beautiful. Fun to watch in the little bits that I saw. Like I said, not really a huge weekend for Smash. Just had a really big event in Suplex City, but obviously very East Coast focused, very top heavy. So excited to see what happens at Prime Saga and then Pound. This kind of felt like a sort of a lead into those events.
Yeah, and if we're talking about content creation and storylines, like for anyone that's like covering this sort of thing on the video or even written format, like you got your 3 champions, well, 3 local town hero champions because they really won regionals. So 3 regional champions coming in to Prime Saga. Sam just got one, and he got it over Void. Naira just got one, who got it over a score of people. And then Cosmos just got one, who got it over Nakat, Mr. R, and Keitaro, because why not? Sure. That's something we can, definitely talk about as a writer. So I hope people follow suit on that, because that's just like right there for you.
Yeah.
Smash Reddit, Smash Twitter definitely feels a little lull-ish right now. I'll say that.
Yeah, it's quiet. There's not much happening.
Yeah.
Other than the thing we'll get into for a little bit. But I feel like part of the reason that became so big is because there wasn't much else to talk about. So people are just making trouble, basically, at all hands. Yeah,
the worst times on Smash Twitter are the times in between any sort of high-octane competition. That's when people get bored, honestly. Right. When you're united around one front, around one thing, and everybody sort of pops off. But for right now, Twitter fingers. So I think that covers that. Everyone gets one. We're going to jump into PRs. Are you ready to jump into regional PRs, Coney?
Yeah, so PRs are weird. A lot of things to talk about, and it would take hours and hours to cover them all. But the first season for a lot of regions is over, so PRs are coming out. MDVA just got theirs, and I was just browsing through the SoCal one.
Yeah, SoCal one's starting up here. I love the Persona theme. Very, very cute. Very, very. I like the stylized. The best PR I'll show later that I see.
There's a bunch of different thoughts and ways to go about PRs, because like some of them are like, we used to in the old days it was just top 10, but now there's top 20, and a lot of people say, why do you need top 20?
Top 15 in some regions.
It's not top 15 some places. Some places have a 0, which I think is incredibly corny.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here. So first off, are you team 20 or team 10?
I'm team 10, but I understand having 20. I think 20 is good for a scene if you're going for... So here's the thing. Back in the day, it was top 10, but you would do 20 if you're like a Midwest region, because you want everybody to feel good. Like, people are driving 6 hours for a monthly. Like, you don't want to, dissuade people from doing that, so you give everybody a ranking. Everybody feels nice, right?
Sure. Participation award, almost.
Almost, yeah. You don't want to say that, but, like, it's also a huge region. So, that's 20. And I feel like some regions have to do that. Like, if you have a certain amount of, like, unique entrants. Apparently, New England has an insane amount of entrants up there. Like, thousands. So, I get it. So, I'm okay with 10. I prefer 15. I get 20. I understand it. I'm not Team 0. I hate zeros on PRs. I hate it.
Now, the thing is like... It for me, first off, PRs, even in how they're made, is so... It really needs to just make sense for the season. I've had so many people ask me, hey, suar, so, we got all this data, we're going to do this, and we're thinking, tweaking this ELO rating, and then you know, Microsoft TrueScale has just been disappointing us, and then da 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 da. And almost every time I tell them like a data-driven approach for a region is not the way to go. Actually, what I think and what TAS has advised too, practical TAS, is panel-based rankings for regions actually almost mirror what the accuracy of an objective-based ranking would, but it's more involved. Like it's more of a process and it's more of what makes sense. Because like I think the zero factor, like having someone be rated 0, like I think Sam Sora is in South Florida, for example. 8-Bit Man was rated 1st, Sam Sora is 0. He's 0 because, I mean, he beats everybody, but then he stopped because he's traveling. So then what are we rating? Are we rating the people who came and beat people?
He's number 1. No, he is number 1. He is the best player in your region. That's it.
Or are you rating by attendance? And so Sam Sora would drop as that would happen. But then, again, like, if you do all your formulas and all this data-driven stuff for your region, like, it might not make sense. It starts also like data. So like, oh, you got this one set on this one guy at this one weekly at this one time. There was 20 people that entered versus, you know, like what we deal with, which is like all these weekly now, weekend 200-person events where you can sift through a lot of data, a lot of interactions. So that's my spiel on like data-driven or objective. I mean, also in South Florida, I know Kino as a TO, from what I last heard, in South Florida, they just do use Microsoft TrueScale or some variant of it, something where challenge is spit into something and it returns what their seeding is going to be. So they don't even have any debate as to like what is what. But other regions can't do that. In other regions, it takes 2 hours to get to a local, like SoCal. Other regions, it's more spread out. Other regions involve multiple states, like New England, because they do a Massachusetts, a Connecticut, and a Maine, and a New Hampshire power ranking. So at that point, like, you're splitting hairs, you know? But yeah, I think you said your team 10, you understand why 20.
10 is a big deal to me because if
10 with HMs or just 10?
10 with HMs. You can drop up HMs, that's fine.
Okay.
1 or 2. 2 at most.
5?
No. That's 15. Now you have a 15-person PR.
Then 5 more, and then we got a top 20.
No, I like 10 because, like, even the 10th guy matters. Like, when you go to 20, like, the 10... Even, like, the problem with 20 is that 20 makes the 10th guy not matter. Like, when you see 20, it doesn't scale to me. Like, I don't know how to describe it. If I see 10, and I know these are the top 10 best players in an area, even number 10 I'll throw a little respect to. If I see 20, I'm like, okay, so everybody gets something. Maybe 10 got ranked because he just beat 11 through 20, as opposed to a top 10 where I'll see number 10 and I'm like, oh, I bet he has a win on 4. I bet he has a win on 3. That's pretty good. Maybe that's just my perception and it's just like it's totally inaccurate. But I think 10 does a way better job of highlighting who your strong sort of people are in your region. But if you don't care about that and you just want people to show up and feel good and get wins and get ranked, top 20 is fine.
Yeah, the biggest thing is that also we're throwing up the Vermont Smash power ranking, which cute, I like. I don't think that's the same Rags at number 4 because he's playing Pichu. But diversity, first off, as I say that 2 Pichus are 4 and 5th. But what is the power ranking for? If it's inter-region, I think 20 is very good because it gives everybody a shot. And honestly, like, people need goals to be motivated. And when it comes to power rankings, that's the biggest motivation there is because you get to hold that, right? I mean, look at the PGR. When you get even 47th, that's still in people's Twitter bios. From like last season, even top 100, that's in people's Twitter bios. Like, bragging rights, also resume builder, also just like, all right, I'm going to go to a major. I'm like 7th in Jersey. Like, that carries weight. That affects seeding, that affects perception, that affects commentary, how casters look at you. But top 10 is more geared towards out-of-region stuff, all right? Like Mars being 1st in a top 10 in New England, that's like, yes, right? Top 20, though, that 19th and 20th spots, it opens up to the hopefuls. And I think that's important to remember because if a region has nobody fighting for it or nobody organizing for it, then it stops being a region. So if you want to like shoehorn, we got to be top 10 pro esports, like that's it, and you got like 2,000 people to worry about, then it'll quickly become less about the PR and more about the panelists. So that's my take, personally.
A lot of people don't care about PR either. Like a lot of people just want to go, and
then people don't care.
Yeah, well, they'll be like they care about PR in that like I'm okay with being 18th best. I don't care. So I get that wanting a top 10 is maybe a little bit too sort of restrictive, especially considering you got to consider kind of just attendance counts. Like they were way lower back in the day. We would have maybe a third of what the locals get now, and that's when we had top 10. So I think it kind of scales up. It just, I wish there was a way. Maybe it comes down to PRs highlighting 10 and then saying also these 10 are good too. Not to discredit them, but like, all right, these are the guys, and then these guys are pretty good.
The hardest part though is as soon as you draw a line, there's more people that you're leaving out. Like
yeah,
and that was like our biggest thing with the PGR was why don't you do top 100? And
yeah,
not only does that sort of like mess with the prestige of it, but also like now you're saying no to 101 and 102. All right, well, top 150. Well, what about 160? All right, well, top 200. All right, well, my buddy in Chicago is at least 230, and it's like, you have to put a hard stop. Also, you have to remember that at the end of the day, it is a prestige factor. I mean, not even talking about the PGR, but local PRs. It's a prestige factor. Like, it's got to be who the best is, not who's in the region. Like, sometimes I've seen top 20 PRs for a region that's active with maybe 60 players, which at that point, it's like, dude, that's way too much. Way too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, any other thoughts? Because I think zero, I think corny's a strong word.
It's corny.
But I think it's more like they're trying to protect a little bit, not of the egos, but trying to make everything like, listen, we can't really show, but if they came, they would sweep. So they don't.
Then just say they're number one. If you're that confident in it, then they're number one. They are the best player in your region.
But
you don't need.
Yes, no, I agree, but I'm empathizing with the person that got number 2 who'd always show up, but that never beat that person who just showed up once, and his name is suar. That's
you're number 2. I mean, it's great. 2's still fine. I mean, you show up every single week, you win all the tournaments, and you don't fight suar. But if you went to those events and you did better than suar, like.
But suar doesn't go is the thing. Like,
yeah,
that's where zero comes in. It's like if you were to rank suar according to like what was attended, like he won 3 tournaments, but that was it. And
I'm not talking about at his locals though. I'm talking about, okay, let's say number 0 is suar and number 1 is and I don't know. I'm just gonna throw his name out there. 8-Bit Man, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 8-Bit Man is 1, suar is 0. And if 8-Bit watches this, I don't know what ranking you are. If you are 0, my mistake.
He's 1.
Or if you're way lower, you suck. Oh, he is 1?
Yeah, he's 1 and suar is 0.
Right. I'm nice. Okay, so in this, he's 1, suar is 0. If 8-Bit Man wants that number 1 spot from suar, who doesn't come to the locals, 8-Bit Man has to do the same stuff. He has to fly out, he has to go to these events, he has to place better, he has to beat better people. That is his prerogative. That's on him to be the number 1 player. It sucks that you live in a state with a top 5 player, but that's how it works. That's how I feel.
Fair.
I'm not about zeros.
I'm not advocating either, but I can empathize. For up to me, I wouldn't feature 0. I think that for the same reason it's not featured elsewhere, usually. I think zeros are all the... Well, you know what? SoCal does it right, because in SoCal, they don't do 0. From the last few iterations I've seen, at least. Yep. Even when Void and Larry were at their height, they were 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2,
yes.
1 and 2, 1 and 2.
I think that's the way to do it. When the 0 started, as far as I know, the reason 0 started back in the day was because Mewtwo King is from Jersey. He was in Ohio.
There's gotta
he
be a
was
history
never
to
in
it.
the state. He was never in the state. So like he was the best in Ohio, but he never was there. But this was before a time when top players were flying everywhere. Like it's the same comparison that you kind of just made, where Samsora is going all over the place and not going to locals. But Mewtwo King like would be living in Jersey, then living in Florida, then living in Missouri, then living in Mississippi. Like he was going everywhere and staying there. He didn't like live in any certain spot. So they were like, all right, we got to give him something. So that I understand. But if you're coming home every week and you're flying out every other weekend, that's I think a little different. That's how I feel.
Yeah, like the history of the Zero, the function of it was most likely like, we don't know what to do with you. Also, you're really good. But it does get a little bit toxic for the region when it comes to like putting up the standards that you want all your players to follow. Because like if yeah, I mean Leo, right? Leo, Zero are all juggling Florida as well as Mewtwo King, and CFL, are they -3, 2, and 1? I mean, guys, like if they're in CFL and they win a tournament or not, like they're your best players. So I think that for the most part too, when PRs get politicized, depending on the agenda you want to put out for like, oh, we want to show the best players, but not these players, or we want to like up the ego and stock of these other players, like it gets really messy.
Yeah.
My final piece of advice when it comes to PRs is take feedback very seriously. Do not give into the hate, because I've seen so many PR panelists, and here's the other thing too. PRs are thankless pieces of work, and it's not like, oh, you know, PR panelists can do no wrong. But the amount of flack PR releasers, not even the panelists, but just whoever releases it, gets is insane. I've seen it in MDBA when I lived there. I've seen it in Florida. There's never been a graceful PR release where it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense actually. It's like number 9 over number 11 with the number 13 and the 4, and it's like, oh my gosh. And then this person in a 10, how can it be? And like all this stuff. When at the end of the day, it's like we're just trying to get a reading of everybody in the region and make a cute graphic.
Yeah.
Talking about all-time favorite graphics, though, do you have one? Because the other part I wanted to mention, the most important part about the PR, is the PR graphic. And I do want to shout out CFL, because they had some of the best Smash 4 PRs that I remember.
Alaska has a really nice one, or they did once, a Melee one that everybody
The
talks
medieval
about.
one?
I think it wasn't like a medieval, it was like field notes. So it was like almost a
Was it like an actual fox?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what it was. Who were the explorers went east to west? Lewis and Clark. Yes. Okay. It was that kind of deal, like field notes for them, explorers, like hammers and foxes, stuff like that. It was really cool.
Yeah, and a cannon for Samus, like it was a cannon.
Yes,
I found it.
Yes, that was it.
I found it. This deserves
I used to make PR graphics for MDVA until it.
This is art, by the way. I'm pretty sure they sourced everything here, but for Marth, like it's just like a pile of just like a buckler and like, you know, swords.
That's so cool.
Fox is a fox. Sheik is like these needles, these kunai looking things.
Yeah.
Captain Falcon's a knight's head. Sam, I mean, you can see the rest, but Ice Climbers being the pair of hammers. This to me doesn't scream aesthetic as so much as it does just like creativity and design. And that's the best PR you can hope for. Like the one that leaves an impact. Because I'm pretty sure right here, whoever the hell Darn is, number 10 in Alaska, does not matter. The fact is that this PR is referenced from 2016. This winter PR is referenced 3 years later to date.
Yeah.
But
I mean, everybody brings this one up. I used to make PR images and then I stopped because I put way too much time into them. Like,
do you have one?
Probably somewhere.
Where could I find this?
I don't know. I wouldn't even know how to search for it. I did Brawl and PM, and then.
But like, you cared too much. How? Like, what, you were doing too much of the stroke filter, like.
Yeah, basically, I just put too much work into it because like I would do something, I'd be like, that sucks, and I would just scrap it and do something else. I don't have processes for this stuff because I don't do it enough, so it just takes me forever. Same way I don't like video editing. Like, if I do it more, I can establish a process, but since PRs come out every 3 months, it's like, you know, it's different.
Yeah. What about worst PRs?
PRs.
You don't like a Pepe the Frog, like top 10. You don't like that.
Just get me out of this hell. Yeah, it had its time where that stuff was like really funny, but now it's just I don't know. It's good for regions, I guess, if that's what they want to do and like that's their thing. But I don't know. I've had enough.
I haven't seen too many bad ones, like exceptionally bad ones. I mean, usually the bad ones are trying to be bad. I do like it though when, for example, I know snow in New England. I can probably pull it up. New England Smash 4 Kingdom Hearts Power Ranking. This show has production. I can't find it, but Snow, if you don't know her, is an artist that does art, and she made a PR for New England. This has a story, but it was Kingdom Hearts based, and all the characters or all the people that were on the PR were drawn as their character reference. And that's crazy. Like, each person was personalized, individually drawn, and I mean, that's amazing.
That's kind of neat.
Yeah, like I think
if you can give somebody some shine to do that, that's good. It's usually thankless work, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing too is like, yeah, you got to commission someone, and that takes its own time and money and resources. But for the most part, if you're making a PR for your region for the first time, prioritize that it's what the community needs for your own region. Prioritize equity and fairness. So like, all right, maybe you only have 2 weeklies. Where are they going? You know, do we need to, you know, put more stock in one weekly over the other? Are we looking at persons entered, or are we looking at just how much money was in the pot? Whatever it is, it needs to make sense for your community. If you try to decide what makes sense for your community instead of listening for them, your PR will be no more. Yeah. And then the other thing is like, get a sick graphic. And the other thing, conversely, is like, don't wait for a graphic. Just like put it out in a text file if it's gonna take too long. I've seen
yeah, that's important.
I've seen people get infatuated with the graphic. The graphic's got to be perfect. It's got to get all my characters, my tertiary, my quaternary, my quintuplet, right? That's not the right word. Quaternary? What's the fifth? Whatever. Don't worry about that, because as soon as your PR comes out, it's obsolete. Believe it or not. As soon as your PR comes out, that next weekly, your number one's gonna lose to like number 8. So I've seen SoCal do it before on behalf of TLTC. They just put the PR as a text file, and that's that. They're like, all right,
I've got an important PR I want you to post.
All right.
I just Gyazoed it. Go ahead and put that up. Let everybody see.
What?
2010.
What is this?
Check it out.
What it?
Just so you know. Just so you know.
Is this you number
never played
one?
Bro Minus?
Oh god.
You never played Bro Minus, bro? I ran our region.
Coney's reign of terror and brawl continues to leave fear in opponents' eyes.
Undefeated. Could not be stopped with Luigi, bro.
Bro,
literally unbeatable.
Bro, the band Korn? Did you have Korn in your region?
Oh yeah, Korn was a MDVA man who was very toxic. That's all I'll say. Bro, very toxic fella.
Coney was ranked over Korn.
Can you believe
5-time award-winning nu metal band Korn. Actually, honorable mention to Coney and Brawl Minus. You heard it here first. Korn ranked under Coney. Did you get ranked 0?
And Minus eventually, I think I did.
Okay,
I think down the line.
Oh, it's because in Discord I opened. There you go. Production. So, that was.
If you want to see some of our old PR, hold on. Yeah, okay. So I found my resource of PRs.
Oh, now he finds it. Now I don't know how to Google. Now here's my whole directory.
Oh, never mind. They're gone.
Oh, come on. Give me one.
I can't. No, they're gone because they were hosted on Image Shack, and I guess they're gone. When you go to the link, it just goes to Image. Yeah.
Image Shack.
Yeah.
For anyone watching for the first time, Image Shack used to be a prehistoric image hosting website back when you had to host images not on Imager, tangentially related to photobucket.com,
yes.
Another relic of the past. People like Pandarian and Wishes would not know what either of those sites are, along with Captain Zach and probably whoever else is 14. So this is my last shout out, and I don't even know what happened here. I can't even understand what I'm looking at. This final power ranking, actually, from, I believe Southern California 2015. This is something that belongs in the MoMA, actually. We have Mangoes first. Westball. So see, this is how you could also do your PR. Listen, like, if the people on the PR are okay with it and they respect the effort, like, why not?
Fine. Fine. Okay.
I like it. They got the Batman for the lucky, right? They got the Batman symbol. He wears that shirt. Okay, it's iconic. They got Bernie for hugs. I think because he's old. Oh no, for the people. I don't understand melee humor.
I get it. It's funny because it looks bad. That's really funny. Like, you expect it to look good, but it looks bad. That's why it's a really funny PR. It's really good.
You need to stop hating just because you were ranked first in a game nobody plays. Even more. Well, so.
that's why I'm sour, because I didn't get a cool image from me being the best in my region. So that's why I'm mad. That's all it is.
Tafo Kids at 15, by the way. Which,
shout-outs.
Shout-outs to Tafo the God. And Biz at
Mr.
18.
NASA himself.
Biz at 18 with the Yummy Pepperoni sponsor. Boy, that was a funny time in Smash when they were involved.
Oh, God.
Yeah. But anyways, back to the match. Yeah, PRs, get your images in line. Get your panelists in line. Get your community in line. Because if you release something and say this is good for everybody and you declare it as such, you will be the last man standing on the pile of your own cinders made from your community. So please be aware. So yeah, any final things that we need to talk about PRs, Coney? Because it's the season. 'Tis the season. The whole reason we're talking about it is usually PRs are done quarterly. Sometimes triannually. It depends. Sometimes, if you're like me, they're done twice a year for the PGR. But they're coming out right now. If you see them, retweet them, share them. It's also useful for commentators to reference. So if you see that image, just pull it up. Maybe save it one day because someone's going to ask, hey, does anybody know anyone from Florida? Boom, here's the South Florida power ranking. Sam's score is 0. Brett's number 1. There you go. So, any final things, Coney, before we move on?
Stop putting zeros on PRs. You're just doing it to save one person's feelings. Just let it go. Let it go.
That's not even a hot take. That's actually just what it is. Just make it number 1.
Make that 11 dude an HM. He's an HM. He's the one HM, but he's an HM. Do that.
Yeah. So the open mic tonight is going to be the Tweek tweets. The Tweek tweets being not even a segment, but literally what happened last week that determined the rest of the week today. Basically, it's like crazy this time of the year how one person can have so much power.
It's so stupid. Okay. All right, here we go. So
the Tweek tweets, Coney, you wanna lead us into it as I scour Twitter for these tweets of the Tweek.
So do you remember last week I was talking about how I was sort of at this crossroads where I don't know how much the Smash personalities, figureheads community needs to worry about its influence on like followers and stuff, or how much it should just be like, should Twitter be this kind of public face, this mask that you put on when you say, hey, I'm going to this event and you're trying to promote and you're trying to look good, put out sponsors, or should it just be a player, like kind of a look into the real life of a player and their sort of candid thoughts and their real life stuff?
Yeah, Zach and Cody, I got it.
Right, yeah, I don't know. It's one of those two things. The problem though is that when you have the first thing where it's just one guy's opinion that he's just trying to put as base as he can. Tweek is just like, you guys want to know how I feel about Smash Ultimate. It's just how I feel. Nobody else. Still think it's a good game, but these are my gripes that I'm having issues with.
Get loud, Coney. Get loud.
It's the same shit that feeds into that everybody wants to talk about tiers, right? And the reason that everybody cares about tiers is because somebody who plays a mid-tier really wants validation and to hear, oh, I'm not beating that guy because my character's not as good. That's gotta be it. That same person wants to hear, oh, Tweek doesn't even like Ultimate? He's one of the best players. He plays it all the time. That's why I'm losing at the game, because it doesn't reward skill. Oh my god. He's just mindlessly nairing. That's all he's doing. He's just hitting nair. Tweek can say that because Tweek is playing against some of the best players in the world for hours and hours at a time. It is just his opinion. It's just how he feels. You can't say that, number 25 on a 20-man PR in Kentucky. You can't do that, but everybody wants to do it, and that's my problem with that. Now, Don't get me wrong, because I think a lot of people came out on the other side to defend Ultimate, but then you have the opposite problem where somebody like Samsora is like, I think everybody that doesn't like Ultimate, that wants to go back to Smash 4 just
that was a
they don't have
bait
fundamentals
on a hook.
You don't have to say that either. Like, why can't people have opinions and we
I'm
don't
here
have to
for
bring
it.
in skill levels or any? So it's just creating this discourse where everybody just wants to dump on everybody else constantly. And that's fine if you want that, but in 6 months, I don't want to hear, everybody's so toxic, Smash community so mean. You get one or the other. I don't know which one you want, and I'm feeling whiplash because I feel like I can't go in both directions.
So we need to get a heart rate monitor for your stream, actually.
I've been thinking a lot about that. I really have.
Mad money!
I don't know. Stock in Dyer is down. I'll say that after all.
Ooh! Okay, we will talk about Dyer in a moment.
Very good player. I get why he's frustrated.
Very lovely Aaron White. I think his last name is White. But I do want to say, not in standing with everything you just said, I do quite love Tweek's opening line. Do y'all want to hear my actual thoughts on Ultimate?
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely nobody. Tweek. Do you want to hear my actual thoughts on Ultimate? Which,
I'm glad he did that.
I'm really
glad he did. I really love the way that he did it because he was very explicitly saying like, "Hey, this is just me. This is one dude talking."
This is the Tweek hour. This is the Tweek show. Everything Tweek did, protected by the First Amendment. Everything Tweek did, protected by social mores, and the fact that he prefaced everything very well.
Yes.
It was the bait after that many people pretty much fell for, which happened elsewhere on Twitter. Most notably, Dyer from Central Florida posting something about Ultimate being a coin flip, being a coin toss. That, of course, brought MKLeo fanatics, by and large, saying, wow, 4 months of coin flipping really working out for him since it's a 50-50. It's tough because I wish, and there's probably a way to do it, but a way to go back into the 4th month of Smash 4 on Twitter, which sounds like an awful time, actually. Sounds like a middle school locker. But, you know, I think that for everything that's worth it right now, we're probably not even that much better. We did not have anything optimized. We were not really playing the game to learn it. We were just playing, and that was before even the esports thing, right? So we weren't even like conscious of like the theme and the ranking. We're just like, or even Clout. Clout was pre-Clout. This is pre-Clout.
Yeah, he didn't even exist.
Because at that point, Anti had 800 followers on Twitter and was just tweeting to tweet. This is pre-Clout. So opinions didn't really matter because it was like, okay, cool. You want to play, man? You want to get some friendlies in? Now, it's, I mean, it's a lot different. If you upset a top player, if you get into it with a top player, are they responding to you? Zero being a prime example of feeling the need to respond to things that may or may not merit it, but also being in the position of constantly getting hate. So that's exhaustive. So like, do you fight back or not? Captain Zach, same boat. So now people want to get a rise out of top players. And also top players want to get a rise out of people every once in a while, aka Samsora, which I'm here for that tweet, honestly. I thought it was great. I thought it was PG. And honestly, like, it's kind of funny because he gets to, like, on the other hand now, from Smash 4, he wasn't talking like that, but now he's kind of, you know, able to sort of, from his, you know, castle atop the mountain, sort of do the same thing, which everyone likes to do every now and then. I'm not going to take that away from him. But for anyone else that can't think for themselves, like you said, it is a bad time to be on Twitter. Anytime Smash 4 and Ultimate face off, which if you're so committed to the idea of Smash 4, then I got news for you. SmashCon 2019 will feature it, and you can play your heart out. But psych, you won't, because you're really just saying that on Twitter to make a statement that you don't even believe in. So please, it's not the better game, it's not the worst game, it's a new game. Like, you're not fooling anyone here. Like, He's like, Tweek is talking about these 50-50s at a micro high level that you will not even get to experience unless you're on the losing end. So that's my piece.
A lot of people tweet because it's cathartic.
Yeah.
Like, I think tweeting for some people is almost compulsive. It's just, oh, I lost. Boom. Let me explain to the people why I lost. But really, you're just explaining to yourself. You're kind of cataloging your thoughts. A lot of people don't even realize that they're doing it. And I think that when you're sort of... when you fall victim to that, you tend to say a lot of things very reactionary. We've seen Leffen do that a lot, where he'll immediately just spout off the first thing that comes into his mind. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes he's like, damn, Plup really got me that time. Good game. Or sometimes he'll say that Jigglypuff is going to kill Melee. So, like,
oh, God.
It's one or the other. And I think that we're at this point in Ultimate where the first week or the first month, you can be like, oh, it's a new game. I'm learning it. I'm figuring it out. You know, if I don't place as well, it's fine. It's whatever. But 3-4 months in now, it's like, I'm still not doing great. And great to you might be different to great to somebody else. Like, if you've been riding the highs, like we were talking about PRs, I would be insulted by being I'm not good enough for 11 through 20 on a PR. Well, I could probably make 11.
Didn't you win a Xanadu? Isn't that worth some Mario Party coins?
I could be somewhere between 11 and 20 on the MDVA PR if I went to anything. But I wouldn't want to, because if I was anything less than 10th, I would be insulted. But I know a lot of other people who are better than me, who would want more, who would want higher, who might be getting 5th regularly, 7th. And, like, they don't really like it, and they think, okay, why is this? Does the game suck? Do I suck? Do my characters suck? I mean, there's a lot of things going on, and people come out of that sort of tunnel of thinking in a lot of different places. So, I like the same sort of stuff, but at the same time, I worry because all we're really doing, in a perfect world, it's great. But now we're just feeding into more and more of just the fans and the idol worship, just the community that we've built, which we need. We need these spectators, right? But they just feed into what their god top player has said and just spout it off to all their friends like it's gospel. And like, I'm seeing so many people who don't think critically and just kind of repeat the same opinions as good players. I mean, you see that with tier lists all the time. And I think that we kind of run that risk when we talk about, oh, this game's better.
And he's gone.
My Discord died.
No, he's back. It's now Pitbull talking to my random aesthetic Instagram screen cap.
Sorry, it's Mr. 305.
I'm going to leave this because I want to see where it goes, but continue.
Mr. 305, Mr. Worldwide, would like to say, with all the spectatorship and the fan worship and just sort of the sort of cult of personality that a lot of Smash has, I hate that you have to hedge what you say now, because if you say that you don't like this game or this game is better than that one or whatever, you can't give your opinions without 50,000 people latching onto it. You know what I mean? And then making that their cause to champion of, okay, well, this is why I'm losing, because Tweek said that this game is not, he doesn't like this game as much, and I don't like this game as much, because Tweek said it, and because I know that I'm the same caliber of player as Tweek. That's just how I feel.
It's totally true. And with everything going on right now concerning the sort of bully pulpit, not even bully pulpit, because it's weird, almost like, to get political. Anytime Trump tweets something, it's like, we gotta listen, we gotta cover this, we gotta, oh my god, right? And here it's not so much that, and the president's always had that ability to, like, oh my gosh, if he or she's gonna say something, we have to write this down. But like in a scene where skill and everything, almost like a meritocracy, dictates everything. Like, Leffen is so,
yeah,
he's my favorite loud voice, only because Leffen, Hug said it, I think, the other day. He's like, why are you 90% of the time correct? I think there was a time where Leffen had his ideals a little bit, I don't know, not in the order they are today, to the point where he was saying things that were detrimental at large.
Right.
But now, like, he champions a lot. Like, he got Genesis seeding reseeded. Man, and launched, I think, a clothing line based on penguins. Which, branding, like, I don't know if that meme is from, you would know, but the Fallout, like Sneak 100, like, branding 100.
Yeah.
But he brings light to issues that many people wouldn't think of in the way that that you would normally. And so if it's seeding, a top player's complaining. But it's like, no, here's seeding being done by people that potentially shouldn't be doing it. We need accountability. Also, penguins. Also, sub to my Twitch. Use Amazon Prime. Today and only today you can use... Yeah, like, that's what he does. And that's great. But not many people are built like that. Not many people are managing themselves like that. And when top players for the current time right now are speaking about these issues, especially someone like Tweek, who's arguably top 3, top 2, top 1, whatever day of the week it is, for people right now, fans, like, that's all they kind of have to go by. And they have no frame of reference elsewhere until the chips fall, right? Like, everyone's top 10. And so until then, like, we'll see. And I think it'll be interesting because the PGR, when it comes out, and this is me looking on the horizon, like, it will be somewhat of like a watershed event because expectation versus reality, like names like Wishes, names like Light, who previously weren't like anywhere near the top 10 until the very, very end of Smash 4, and Pandarian and Wishes, like, even in the mix until the very, very end of Smash 4. How will they react to it? Do they trash it to delegitimize it? Do they bring it up to legitimize it? What would that look like? You know, it'll be funny. And I'm kind of like speaking...
That's a good point, yeah.
Kind of speaking like... kind of worrying aloud. But, you know, it's like this is a tool for the community to base players based on skills so that everyone can see who's worth signing, who's worth following, also who's worth, you know, just cheering for. And this is resetting in 6 months, you know, signed the PGstats team. But, you know, if it doesn't fulfill what people think should be what it is based on what a top player starts tweeting, then you're just like attacking one other thing that could help you, which I think a lot of times the top players don't think about when it comes to like tournaments organizing for them or news outlets or other things. Be critical, but also, you know, realize that like things you say, people that don't think like you are just gonna take. Like, oh, ESPN sucks. Yeah. Don't retweet them. Don't follow them. And then
one of the so somebody brought up a really good point and really sort of I went on this super long rant and ramble without really any kind of direction, kind of aimless, but somebody in the chat really summed it up in that I think there's this weird shift happening right now where these top players, both in Melee and in Ultimate, are intentionally or not legitimizing a lot of scrubby mentalities for top level play. And like when I say scrubby, I don't
Unga bunga.
Let's set the bar here. So when we're talking scrubby, we don't mean bad. Scrubby just means like, oh, you only beat me because X. It's like you're making excuses, no Johns, blah blah blah. Now, it's one thing to talk about your own experience, kind of like what Tweek does, where he's just like, this is just how I feel. It's not why I'm losing. It's just how I feel about the game. I'm not making excuses as to why I'm not winning. This is just how I feel. That's different than what a lot of Melee people are doing that I'm seeing is just like, oh, Jigglypuff and Icy's killing the game. They're uninteractable. This is... And I feel like on both sides of the coin, we're seeing this thing. Like, if you remember at the beginning of Ultimate, Zero would not stop talking about how busted Inkling was. Everybody was doing it. Oh my god, Inkling's so stupid. Somebody put on Twitter, and Leffen put on Twitter, he was like, what do I do about Inkling? What should I do in this matchup? And Zero was like, in my experience, you should just go with the Ditto. Inkling you can't deal with Inkling. Inkling's busted. Inkling's stupid. Now look at Inkling. There's one player popping off with that character.
Where?
Like that character was not nearly that bad. And I think that at the beginning of Ultimate, when everybody's eyes were on the game, people complaining about Inkling. Now there's somebody in a basement right now who's winning on Inkling and being told by all of his friends that, you know, he's trash and he's not good, and because he beat his friend's Ganon. Like, I feel like a lot of people are sort of biting into that fruit of you're appealing to that mass market. and that mass market doesn't play the game seriously enough or care enough to not make excuses for themselves. So you're kind of giving people what they want, and you're kind of succumbing to that desire. But if you give into that temptation too much, then you're just gonna have a community of whiners and complainers. Or you're gonna have people who don't care enough to actually go to stuff. I think there's an issue with that. I'm getting really tired of seeing stuff like that, you know?
Well, you are now hitting on what peak performance looked like in Smash 4 Bayo Hate. And the tricky thing about that is in situations where there is a arguably and tangibly game-breaking, set-breaking, meta-breaking character mechanic, it's arguable, right? Because some people are like, well, just, don't hit her, whatever, cool. Yeah. Oh, Meta Knight's worse, oh, cool. Comparison theory, like all that. When there is a situation when there could be a problem, or there is play that is, by many definitions, toxic. Because some people will be like, Tweek at one point was saying, defending Bayonetta, and then he'd get hate when he was like, no, you can honestly look at these transactions that you can make with her that don't end up negative for you, but also you will end up upside down many times. There's no talk to be had at that point because of top players normalizing scrubbing mentality against that. There were certain situations where certain top players and their fan bases, when they would do one thing that was seen as okay or hype, and it was being done against them by Bayo or by something else, it wasn't seen as okay. It wasn't seen as hype. You're talking about Nairo. You're talking about Nairo. You're talking about Nairo boost kick and how it's really cool when he kills Void at 20. But when it happens to him, when Ryu kills him at 40, it's not that. I get it. I mean, I'm just saying here, the scrubby mentality in the double standards and all that is now kind of more upfront now. And we're not even talking about characters that can freeze you in your animation for about 380 frames. We're talking about we're talking about what's being played right now. Okay, Pichu forward
Wolf
tilt.
Down smash killing its
Wolf down smash. Pichu F tilt. I don't know. Flare Blitz isn't relevant, right? Charizard.
We've got 3 stocks too. So
let's
consider that.
And I just want people to be aware of that people were already talking like this before the game came out. And when you see it now on site, question the fundamentals of it. Is this player unable to cope with this loss and changing the perspective on this, win or loss to benefit their image? Or are they actually talking about something that's concerning? Is any character really concerning right now? I don't know, really. Honestly, I'm not seeing scores of charts being topped by Diddy, right? It was in the beginning of Smash 4. Yeah. And for the most part, people should honestly be looking at the fact that, many different people are winning many different things, which may signify health, or on the opposite, a very bad thing because it's not consistent, or it's too consistent. Balance. It's too balanced that anyone really with the upper hand is gonna win, as opposed to the better player with better skill. But that's still so much to be determined, man. But
yeah, that
entire thing happened out of y'all want to hear my thoughts on Ultimate and Cowboy Hat. So big ups to Tweek. I think he did what what any top player would do on a weekend night. But these reactions are getting concerning. I'll be real.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll do it for the Tweek tweets. Any other thing you wanted to bring up, Coney, before we close out open mic and the show? The 12th episode. Dang, that's a hot one.
Nothing really comes to mind, guys. Just keep in mind, if you're watching this and you're losing, you got 2 options: either get better or quit.
Damn.
I mean
that's literally the only 2 options.
Well, if you're unhappy, let me rephrase that, because if you're happy with where you are, that's fine. You don't have to get better or quit. You can do whatever you want. But if you're unhappy with what you're doing, you can either get better or quit. And if you're gonna whine and complain about the game or complain about characters, you're just feeding into a terrible mindset that's gonna infect a lot of people. I mean, people throw around the word toxic a lot, but I really do think that that creates kind of a culture shift where if everybody's just gonna start complaining, nobody's gonna play the game, you know, because all these characters are stupid. Pichu just killed me at 50 to 4 tilt. Yeah, well, Peach took me from 0 to 80 with a down tilt. Yeah, well, Olimar put me at 60 from a grab. That's fighting games. Everybody's gonna do that, and if you want to do that, you play that character, or just shut up and take it. I don't know.
There's definitely that famous FGC video about picking a top tier. Have you seen that before?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, I think I might play it at the end. But for what it's worth, yeah, learn how to lose, honestly. And if you're not playing as a career, then you have no excuse really to be winning. Like really, like you don't, like if you're winning, cool, but like if your life's not dedicated to it, you really cannot hold yourself to the same standards as someone like Cosmos. Which isn't to knock any sort of effort you put into it, but listen, man, like these people wake up to play, to go to sleep, to play Smash. So once you take yourself out of that, it's like you get to sort of brush next to LeBron in a pickup game, but you cannot. Listen, if you get a 3-pointer on him, that's great. You get a 2-stock on Tweek, that's great. But like, be realistic with yourself, and that goes into the PR talk as well.
Well, I kind of talked about this, I think, on a previous episode. I can't remember, or if I was just talking with somebody else. But there was a point in Smash where you could live off talent. You could eat off talent. You could win weeklies, and just because like you were better, because you were talented, you got the game naturally. That's why Mango was such a big deal, because Mango didn't even own a GameCube. LMAO, he beat everybody. He doesn't even care.
PogChamp.
That time, yeah, that time has passed. Now we're in the age of Zeros and Armadas and people who play a lot and try very hard. And if you're not that guy, you can't expect to be that guy. So those times are over, basically. Like in the old days, you could play once a week at a weekly and get warmed up and practice, and you'd be fine because you were just that much better than everybody else. Can't do that anymore.
That's true.
Too many entrants, too many people trying very hard, trying to be the best. People who are willing to camp you out, who don't want to fight. I mean, you see it with that Ices vs Jigglypuff matchup. Like, if one of them didn't care enough, he would have just approached. But people care now, and it's changed the game. So
no, it has for sure. And there's more info out, man. Like, people can tweet up a matchup, and people have notes, and people have everything that you could want to get better. So if you're like, oh, I'm just great in my neighborhood, I'm great in my region, like, people are better. So
yeah,
don't be so hard on yourself, don't be so hard on the community. And I wish I could play this Sanford Kelly pick a top tier video, but I'll just link it in the chat for anybody who's curious. I just don't know, I haven't seen it word for word. I just know Ally Joe's what's it called?
It's a very good video.
Ally Joe's accent, and then him saying, yeah, candy. But I don't know, they probably curse a bunch, so if you want, you know, view it on your own time. But I think that's going to do it for the 12th and, I was going to say final, the 12th episode of SmashCenter. I wanted to actually get Tweek on tonight, not going to lie. But I also don't want to, like, put him under a microscope. I think he has a lot of time. Or I think that just happens to him enough on top of every other top player. I mean, SmashCon is going to be nuts for all those people. I do not envy them.
Very excited.
But yeah, it's been real. Coney, any final things you want to say? I know it's twitch.tv/Coney.
Yes, and then the ZZ on Twitter.
And the ZZ on Twitter, as always.
If you can help me with that, and you're somehow watching this, please help. That account, I want it gone, please. Twitter.com/Coney has a tweet since 2009. They tweeted one time. They don't follow anybody. If you work at Twitter, Jack, if you're watching this, like, please talk to me. Anyway, that's it.
All right, Coney. I was gonna give you a moment there, but yeah, I think that'll do it, Coney. We'll see you next time. It's been a great time. So, you know, we're gonna close out the show now. For everybody watching, first time on YouTube, please go ahead and hit like, subscribe, so that you have everything you can want when it comes to results and controversy and everything in the Smash community that we can possibly bring you up to date on. The show's been growing, the base has been fun, the Q&A has been spicy. Today we wanted to go ahead and highlight Tweek's tweets. It's so hard to say still. Tweek, the Twitter of Tweek, okay? Gavin Dempsey, we wanted to highlight that for everybody for tonight's open mic. Next week we'll come back with Q&A, so make sure that if you have any questions you want to have answered, then DM me on Twitter, PG underscore suar. You'll find my profile. You can send me anything you want asked and answered, and we can try that next week. But for now, we love you a lot. We appreciate the support. Go ahead and yeah, keep being you. If you're making a PR, first step to the making a 50-person PR, don't actually. It's not a fun time. I can tell you right now, it's not a fun time. But if you're making a 10-person, 20-person, even 20-person with 5 HMs because you're a daredevil, good luck. And just remember, it's like for a community and it's for a game, so just, you know, don't be so hard on yourself. And if you're getting a PR made for you, just thank them. Honestly, they do not have to do what they're doing. And if they, you know, give you grief about it, like, work it out, man. Like, work it out. We all love each other at the end of the day. It's been episode 12. It's been Suar. PGstats filling you in with SmashCenter. Hope you enjoyed, and have a good night.